Thanks, and we move on to the second part of our briefing. And we're very pleased to be joined in the room by the police advisor and director of the United Nations Police, Luís Carrilho. And he will be joined, hopefully on the screen beside him, we'll be able to see also the police commissioner for MONUSCO, Mody Berethe, and the police commissioner for UNISFA, Violet Lusala. First, I'll turn the floor over to our police advisor, Mr. Carrillo. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Fernando, and good morning to all, and thank you. I am very pleased to be here today, and of course to be joined by UNISFA Police Commissioner Violet Lusala and the MONUSCO Police Commissioner Mody Berethe. We just concluded the 16th United Nations Police Week, which brought together 18 police commissioners, senior police advisors, and police liaison officers from peace operations, particularly peacekeeping, special political missions, and regional offices. It was first an opportunity to recognize the achievements and continuing commitment of the United Nations Police, who have stayed and delivered on our mandated tasks to support our host communities during their time of need. As we have done in past years, we had direct, although virtual, interaction with the Member States through briefings to the Security Council and to the Special Committee for Peacekeeping Operations, known by the C44, about our strategic priorities, current challenges, and resource requirements. The Member States were particularly interested in hearing about the United Nations Police Commissioners and the contributions to the Women, Peace and Security Agenda and the Action for Peacekeeping Plus initiative, including our efforts to protect civilians, strengthening strategic and operational integration, sustain peace, and advance political solutions, amongst others. We also discussed the future role of the United Nations Police amid the department's ongoing digital transformation, including through increased focus on innovation and the adoption of new technologies to address transnational threats, foster enhanced intelligence-led policing, and remain agile and adaptable in the face of an increasingly complex landscape comprising both traditional and non-traditional security threats, and of course that such threats to other than the non-traditional security threats such as pandemics, criminal groups, use of technologies, climate change, and growing socio-economic inequality. Realizing the vision of our Secretary General for the United Nations Police as a United Nations system provider of policing expertise and services, the discussion this week allowed us to further articulate the work of the recently established Interagency Task Force on Policing, to be co-chaired by the Department of Peace Operations and the United Nations Office of Drugs and Crime, to provide strategic level coordination on the provision of policing and law enforcement assistance amongst other relevant UN entities. We had the honor to award the 2021 United Nations Woman Police Officer of the Year to Superintendent Sangia Mala of Nepal, whose commitment to health and safety on her MONUSCO colleagues, the Congolese people, and our planet is an inspiration. For the first time ever, women lead 6 major United Nations police components, and their participation this week brought important perspectives to all areas of our work, not least more impactful gender-responsive policing. Amid the pandemic and other major challenges we face this year, the expectations for peacekeeping remain high. With A4P+, we have a new implementation strategy for A4P. The objective of A4P Plus priorities is to accelerate collective progress on the implementation of the Declaration of Shared Commitments on United Nations Peacekeeping endorsed by Member States in 2018. It outlines DPO commitments over the next 2 years with partner departments and field missions with support from Member States. To finalize, towards this end, the Peacekeeping Ministerial in Seoul this month, or next month in December, provide an opportunity for Member States to come together to voice their political support for peacekeeping and to announce pledges to close police capacity and capability gaps. For the United Nations Police, we welcome Member State support, for example, facilitate training courses and capacity building seminars, deploy teams of police experts to missions in need of specialized expertise, provide technological enablers to increase our safety, or support our operational and camps with renewable energy or rationalized energy consumption practices. Of course, further to the individual police officers and foreign police units that we have in our police peacekeeping and operations. So thank you, and now, Faran, with your authority, I will hand over to the Police Commissioner in UNISFA, Violet Lusala.
Okay. Thanks very much. Ms. Lusala, you're on. Let's see whether we can put her onto the screen. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Violet Lusala, Police Commissioner in UNISFA. Our work in UNISFA is currently protection of civilians. That is our main focus through maintenance of law and order. However, the two host countries, that is Sudan and South Sudan, agreed in 2011 agreement to establish Abyei police service. In that respect, UNISFA was mandated to strengthen and support the capacity of Abyei police service. And I wish to inform the members that up to now, so far, nothing has been done. In the absence of Abyei police service, we are basically relying on our own capacities and the capacities of CPC and JCPC. These CPCs are just voluntary community protection committees who are just working without any incentives. Our main priorities in respect to implementation of the mandate is the protection of civilians through prevention of sexual and gender-based violence, monitoring of human rights violations, training and building the capacity of CPC, and also enhancing community-oriented policing. We also foster dialogue, peaceful coexistence among the two communities, that is the Nigerians and Wokvingas within Abyei box. Our main target is basically the protection of women and girls who are the main target. In most cases, they are used as weapons of war. In my recent engagement, I've tried to engage with the two host governments, that's the government of Sudan and South Sudan, to emphasize and stress on the issue of establishment of Abyei police service and the issuance of visas for FPOs, which was authorized by the UN Security Council mandate, and additional IPOs to reach the authorized ceiling of 148. Once this one has been established, we'll be able to policy fully up to the village level because currently we are only operating with only 17 sites within Abyei box. In Abyei, my area of coverage, as I've mentioned, is 17 sites, and we have really tried our level best to increase the strength of CPCs. Right now, we have about 767 CPCs, comprising of 132 females. Basically, those are the only law enforcement entities that we are collaborating with to raise awareness in respect to human rights violations. And it has really improved the reporting of LGBT cases within the community, especially in the northern part of Abyei, where we don't have a CPC model, that is a BIFRA, where the majority of the community is Nigerian. Internally, UNISFA has also made significant improvement as regards to gender parity in police components. And I just wish to report that currently we have 60% of women staff in professional positions, including SDBV advisor, who is a lady. In respect to IPOs, we have 34.7 IPOs, and they are really trying their level best to address issues of women and girls within Abyei box. With those few remarks, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And I'd like to now turn the floor over to Mody Berethe.
Thank you very much for the floor, and also thank you to my colleagues, Luís and Violet, for laying the ground for my intervention. I'm speaking from Kinshasa, and as you know, since the 17th of September, the Security Council was submitted in the transition plan. Actually, this is a strategy that has been developed jointly with the government of the DRC, by which we are reflecting on the way of phasing out this mission. As a background, you know that the MONUC first and then MONUSCO has been here in the DRC for more than 20 years now. And we do have the hope that this time we are going to work with the government jointly to focus on key problems that are mainly security issues and security concerns, and then to identify really the strategies, to work together. So then doing this, having those discussions, of course, put the police in the forefront. So we, in the process of the transition now, have the overarching political engagement at the ministerial level, and that's actually derived into the plan and the strategies. But also at the very operational level, we are having interaction, discussion with our counterparts, both on the police, operational branch, that is the Commissariat General here, and also the police oversight bodies. So then to make it sure that at the same time, we do talk about reinforcing the capacities, we take into account also the UN principles of, streamlining as well accountability, including the fight against impunity. So to date, we are very much pleased with, seeing that at the same time we're sending to the council this document. We have a sense that, like a country team, with what we call usually the black and the blue UN, having the peacekeeping mission in one hand and having also the UN agencies in the other hand, we have been really partnering and working together. So we have a plan, what we call a support plan to police reform, by which the MONUSCO and its different components that are investing in police and policing, that means the MONUSCO police and the justice and correction unit and human rights as well. And we have also the UN country team, members that are UNDP, IOM, UNODC, that are really coming together and putting, their effort together in a joint program, that is called a police program. So the police program basically intend to seek to achieve or to contribute to the key orientation that has been given by the Council. So among those orientation is how to tackle the root causes of the conflict here. You know that the DRC is huge, and the conflict has been protracting for decades now. And when we look at the grid of the problems and the thematics to be addressed, they range from the porosity of the borders to migration, the illicit exploitation of resources, and the availability of small arms, not to mention, of course, the vacuum that is left by the absence of the state authority. So then, partnering together, we have identified with the nationals what should be the key priority projects that we need to work together. So in the list of our interests now, we have a project dealing with the mining police, a project also dealing with how to be by the side of the population, when it's come to disaster management, and also other project related to sexual violence and also, operational issues, using the framework that we have put in place. So MONUSCO Police, during the week of the head of the police, interaction in New York, we went sharing our situation about key challenges that we are facing. Because when you spend 20 years in a country, having a discussion with the national is all about focusing on what is really essential, to bringing some new and fresh change in this country. So on our side, we have said that integration is great. Working with all the components of the UN family is really paramount and essential. But in the meantime, we are working with the national to consolidate, our footprint in the sense of in areas where we do think that we're very added value. So to date, we have 8 FPOs and some mandated 591 individual police officers, and we are deployed mainly in 4 provinces where the mission is present. So very concretely, on a daily basis, we do operation with the national, by the sake of developing their capacities. We have complex security. So this is a framework that, in a normal, context in any given country, should be just seen like doing policing in the urban or suburban, asset. So since this country has a lot of challenges to go through, as a UN mission, we're bringing to them the framework by which we do, show them how to select the good person to be delivering on policing, and also how to engage the communities based on good modalities that are community-based policing. We do provide, hotlines for the people to be, reaching the police, and also some, means to the police to be reacting when they are on call. And we also, as another area of focus, are really putting our focus on anything that's related to the fight against organized crime and also the fight against impunity. So we have our teams that are specialized teams on organized crime that are dispatched in areas where we are present, and then we do really work on a daily basis with the national police on on investigation, on forensics, and other activities that are related to the promotion of rule of law to ignite the process of the channel pen. We also in this phase of transition are very much in a good mind with the national, putting a lot of focus on SGPV. We have, thanks to some of our contributing countries like Sweden and Canada and also Tanzania, we are dispatching in Goma and Bukavu sexual violence teams. And then they are working on a daily basis with the national to show them how to take care of victims and also how to conduct investigation as a contribution to an overall effort from this mission, going from the investigation to taking care of the victims. So we do think that as we are leaving this country, because by the plans we have left one region that was Kasai, this year, and next year we'll have another region, province, that we're going to leave, and progressively we are going to actually diminish our footprint in this country. We do think that capacity building is really key to the international police assistance here. I would like to finish this presentation with some key challenges that we are facing. And the challenges is about really bringing assistance in a context where you have really, I'm not saying the state is failing, but you have a lot of challenges at the level of the state, restoration of state authority. So insecurity is all over the place. President Tshisekedi has declared the état de siège, so a state of siege in 2 provinces now. And now what we're seeing unfolding on our eyes is that really the state got very much mobilized. The tool that is used for this mainly is the military tools. So we are also with the national working with them to tell them that we need a combination of a variety of tools in order to tackling the problems that are there. Because military can work on specific threats, but it's good also to have a combination of, tools like DDR, and the government has declared a DDR program, starting a new DDR program. But we have a reconciliation within the communities that will be key, and definitely, the rule of law in the sense that when you put the police in the communities and we start also working on the justice and the judiciary, this is actually the starting point to coming back to normalcy. So this is basically the situation that we are having here in the DRC, and that we have been interacting very much over the week with our other counterpart from the other mission. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Berethe. And with that, I will now turn the floor over. Hello? And I'll now turn the floor over for questions. I believe there's a question from Agostino Lete from Lusala. Please, Mr. Lete, you have the floor.
Hello, do you hear me?
Yes, we do.
Ok. Posso falar em português para o Sr. Comandante Carrilho? Am I allowed to speak in Portuguese to Comandante Carrilho?
Yes, it's fine. If then you could also ask the question in English after that, so the reporters here can also understand what you're saying. But please proceed.
Okay. In Portuguese first. Sorry. Senhor Comandante, muito boa tarde. Queria saber, as minhas questões estão relacionadas com a República Centro-Africana e saberá com certeza que há um caso a decorrer nos mídias em Portugal relacionado com os próprios portugueses na MINUSCA. Há um alegado envolvimento de um soldado, pelo menos um soldado, mas há 11 pessoas detidas que participavam na MINUSCA e fizeram tráfico de diamantes, ouro e estupefacientes na República Centro-Africana. Queria saber algumas coisas. Uma delas, quando é que exatamente as Nações Unidas foram informadas ou souberam do caso e por que vias? Ou seja, se foram informadas pelo governo ou, eventualmente, pela comunicação social há uma semana, quer dizer, enfim, mas queria que fosse absolutamente claro nesta questão, quando é que foram e através de que meios foram informados deste acontecimento. E depois estas questões um pouquinho mais gerais. As Forças Armadas Portuguesas na MINUSCA tinham uma credibilidade particularmente elevada, foram reconhecidas expressamente pelo Secretário-Geral das Nações Unidas há relativamente pouco tempo, eram tidas como muito, muito eficientes no próprio terreno, quer pelas forças rebeldes, quer pelas forças governamentais. Que implicações considera que podem resultar deste caso para a credibilidade, antes de mais, da MINUSCA e depois dos portugueses dentro das forças da MINUSCA? Finalmente, há aqui uma questão: como é que, se posso pedir isto, avalia a qualidade das relações hoje entre as Nações Unidas / a MINUSCA e as autoridades da República Centro-Africana? Há casos, recorrendo aqui os últimos casos recentes, temos os casos das violações com os soldados gaboneses, temos o caso dos disparos contra os soldados egípcios. Finalmente há este caso que aparece agora de soldados ou tropas portuguesas envolvidas no tráfico de diamantes. Estamos a muito poucos dias do prolongamento da missão das Nações Unidas por mais um ano. O secretário-geral vai propor isto para o Conselho de Segurança, se não propôs já, imagino que tenha proposto já. Queria saber como é que está este processo também, este processo da extensão do mandato da MINUSCA, e já agora que características terá esse novo mandato, porque parece que ele ocorre, pelo menos esta aprovação, nesta fase mesmo muito, muito, muito sensível da relação entre a MINUSCA, Nações Unidas, e a República Centro-Africana. Okay, do you want me to put it all in English?
Well, not as much as all that. I believe this is about the issue concerning the diamonds.
Yeah, the diamonds and the CAR.
Okay. Where were the question? I think I'll turn the floor over to Mr. Carrilho.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Não, muito bom dia à agência Lusa e bom dia, of course, para Portugal. Eu responderei em português e depois faço também uma pequena súmula em inglês. Relativamente à primeira pergunta, o objetivo do meu briefing hoje, no nono briefing aqui em Nova Iorque, é para falar sobre a semana dos chefes das componentes de polícia das Nações Unidas que temos nas diferentes missões, sejam missões de manutenção de paz, missões políticas especiais e também nos escritórios regionais que as Nações Unidas têm, onde temos elementos de polícia, nomeadamente na sede da União Africana e em outros espalhados pelo mundo. Relativamente à pergunta que faz, quando é que as Nações Unidas souberam, as Nações Unidas, a Polícia das Nações Unidas, não tem no seu portfólio a competência de lhe responder. Provavelmente, e eu depois vou dizer isso em inglês também, o porta-voz que já tem repetidamente respondido a essa pergunta, mas pode ilustrar de uma forma melhor. A responsabilidade da Polícia das Nações Unidas é de, operacionalmente, apoiar, se o mandato do Conselho de Segurança for esse, as forças nacionais, como é o caso na República Centro-Africana, e também ao nível da capacitação. Aproveito para informar que, da parte da manhã, o Conselho de Segurança aprovou a renovação do mandato por mais um ano. Mas eu ficarei por aí, porque, mais uma vez também, é ao Conselho de Segurança e ao porta-voz das Nações Unidas de responder. Agora eu digo em inglês, depois volto à segunda e à terceira pergunta que fez. The question about my compatriot was about when were the United Nations aware of the allegations that happened in Central African Republic related to some elements of the Portuguese contingent that was deployed there. I had the chance to say that the United Nations, that of course my briefing today is to brief about the United Nations Police Week, and in the portfolio of the United Nations Police does not belong that part of, or to be informed or not to be informed, to investigate, not to investigate, to cooperate, not to cooperate. That is a question that, of course, I duly endorse to the spokesperson of the United Nations.
Thank you. And regarding that, I'm sorry, I cannot speak mellifluously in Portuguese, so I'll have to answer in English. But I just wanted to let you know that what we've been saying about these allegations is that, as a general matter, the United Nations seeks to cooperate, where appropriate, with any national investigation in accordance with the legal framework applicable to it. The nature of these allegations is worrying, and we're monitoring very closely and are in contact with the Portuguese authorities. And that is as much as we have to say on that for now. I believe we also have a question from James Reinl.
No, but there are, sorry, okay. There are second and third, so I just that part, but there was, is this okay? I'll be very quick. I'll be very quick.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to give, no.
Okay.
The second part, so I'll say it first in English, the second and the third part of the question is about the credibility of the national security forces that are deployed, and the third question is, of course, about the relationship between the United Nations in Central African Republic and the authorities. As, of course, as you can understand, being Portuguese, I'm biased. The credibility of Portugal, let me tell you that I visited before the COVID the Central African Republic. I heard the highest appreciation for the work that the Portuguese military, alongside also, and let me tell you, with Portuguese police officers that are there, but overall, the credibility also is, let me tell you, due process and, of course, allegations are allegations and should be duly investigated. The important is that the United Nations mission in Central African Republic continues committed, and then I can say, and our head of the police component was here, to continue to do its best for the country in terms of the case of the police capacity building and operational support. And at that level, let me tell you, even with the incident of the Egyptian that we regret, that of course we strongly condemn, as our Secretary General did, our police officers, they are of course receiving medical treatment. We deplore also the death of one national of Central African Republic, and that will be also, of course, the investigation is ongoing. But having served also in Central African Republic 2 years, I know that our goal, together with all the authorities of Central Africa, the population of Central Africa, and the mission, and it's to do its best for the population in Central African Republic. Muito telegraficamente em português, como é natural, a credibilidade, embora todos gostássemos que não tivesse acontecido, mas durante as minhas visitas e o trabalho das Forças Armadas Portuguesas, juntamente com as forças de polícia que também estão na República Centro-Africana, recebem os mais elevados elogios, e o importante agora é que as alegações, refiro, as alegações que pendem sobre alguns indivíduos do contingente sejam devidamente investigadas e que as consequências sejam devidamente tiradas, como se diz em inglês, do processo. É importante que se diga. Relativamente ao relacionamento com as autoridades centro-africanas, como é natural, ao nível da polícia, o nosso comissário de polícia esteve presente na reunião. A nossa responsabilidade continua a trabalhar conjuntamente com as autoridades centro-africanas, no caso da polícia, a Polícia Centro-Africana, a Gendarmerie Nacional, a população, e posso dizer que o nosso objetivo é continuar a fazer o melhor para a segurança e para uma vida sã e em paz da República Centro-Africana. Portanto, é o que lhe posso dizer relativamente a isto. Quanto ao incidente que aconteceu com os polícias do egípcio, que tinham acabado de chegar à missão, como é natural, o nosso secretário-geral condenou o incidente. Da mesma forma, há uma investigação em curso, mas eu gostaria de pôr aqui o centro, a missão das Nações Unidas, a Polícia das Nações Unidas, tudo irá continuar a fazer para ajudar a população e as autoridades nacionais nesse processo que todos queremos que seja a paz na República Centro-Africana. Muito obrigado.
Okay, and we will now turn the floor over to James Reinl from the National. James?
Hello, thank you, Farhan, and thanks so much for the briefing. You've spoken a little bit about the Egyptian peacekeepers in the Central African Republic. I think you just said a little bit more in Portuguese, but I didn't understand it. Maybe you could just tell us, in your account, what is your understanding of what took place in Bangui on November the 1st? It has been claimed that it was a mistake for the UN to send a bus load of new Egyptian peacekeepers down to the presidential residence to take photos. And I'm just wondering, since that incident, have you updated your policies in Bangui? Have you stopped sending buses on what looks like, tourist activities in the capital?
No, thank you very much for your question, and I will try to give more information in English of what I said in Portuguese. I try to translate, but sometimes there are things that are lost in the translation. First, of course, as our Secretary General said, we strongly condemn the incident of the shooting over peacekeepers, police peacekeepers that just arrived in Central African Republic. Second, there were 10 that were injured. From the 10, 5 are still hospitalized, 4 in Bangui, and 1 after surgery was evacuated to an upper-level hospital in Kampala. And even this morning when I was speaking, because every day we are speaking with our police component on the ground, the police officers are recovering in a good pace, and of course we hope that soon they will be taken out from the hospital, whatever soon will be. Of course, we also deplore and we regret that one national citizen of Central African Republic lost her life during this tragic incident. Second, being a police officer, as you know, there is an investigation ongoing, and it will be premature because we were not there to advance any more details. However, the due process should be followed. What the MONUSCO mission is also helping the authorities is to have strong institutions, And in strong institutions, we are talking about security institutions, and we are talking also about justice in the justice chain. And of course, the police engages in two. And for the credibility of the institutions, it's important that the incident be investigated to the last consequences. I know that you spoke a little bit about some of the facts or some of the things that are being said. You will understand that myself, being a police officer, not have been on the ground to allow my colleagues in Central African Republic, either from the police mission in MONUSCO, but mainly from the prosecution and the justice system, and of course all the other authorities, to make sure that the investigation is properly done. One thing is sure, we strongly condemn the incident, and we regret, of course, that it had happened, shooting against the peacekeepers that, as you know, could be considered war crime.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for that. And I believe, as far as I'm aware, there are no further questions. So with that, I would like to thank our guests, Luís Carrilho here in New York, as well as Mody Berethe, speaking from the DRC, and Violet Lusala, speaking from UNISFA. Thanks very much. Have a great weekend, everyone. Take care of yourselves.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.